Ready to start your journey? Whether it's your first workout or you are a seasoned athlete, Endurance for Everyone Coaching wants to work with you. Our coaching team has worked with athletes from beginners to USAT national qualifiers and are comprised of experienced runners, cyclists, and triathletes who have a passion for healthy living and have been where you are. We offer comprehensive coaching programs from weekly support to basic consultation, all designed to help you achieve your goals. If you want to take your performance to the next level, look no further than Endurance for Everyone Coaching. Go to www.teamE4E.com and click on the coaching link or send an email to teamE4E@enduranceforeveryone.com. And let's get started.
Welcome to this week's Endurance for Everyone podcast.
The following program is for entertainment purposes only. Though the hosts of this show are certified Ironman coaches, their attempts at long-course triathlons and endurance events should not be taken as an endorsement for you to do something stupid too. You should make your own bad decisions, then podcast about it. Now, let's start the show.
Hey, this is John Harris.
And this is Rob Bozovich.
And Endurance is for Everyone, and this is the Endurance for Everyone podcast. All right, welcome to episode 118 of Endurance for Everyone. I'm John here in Tampa, Florida, and up there in Pennsylvania is Rob Bozovich, up there where it's still snowing, right, Rob?
Currently watching the flurries come down. Loving every second of it.
It's 80 degrees here. So we have on the line, we have another guest for you this week. We have on the line Mr. Vinnie Tortorich, an author, a fitness trainer, radio and podcast personality extraordinaire, and the other half of Anna Vocino. Just got to throw that in there. He is also one of the handful of people that have been on every incarnation of this podcast throughout all the names back to Ironman Year 1. So you should feel very proud, Vinnie.
Thanks for having me on again, John. I was thinking about this. I saw an email from you guys about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I just thought I was copied on the email.
We said that too.
It was like they copied me on an email just to get Anna to show up. Nobody wants Anna. Nobody wants me.
It was actually the opposite.
You can say that now because I'm on the air, but facts are facts. It was like, look at these SOBs. And I was thinking back, hell, John used to just invite me on. Now, no, nothing. And back when it was you and Andrew Weaver, way back in the day.
Yeah.
And he would make like balloons and stuff.
He's still doing that.
Where is he? What happened to him? Why is he not on?
Yeah, he's still up there. I mean, he put out a nice little logo now. I don't know if you saw it, Rob, but of his Air Weaver balloons, he's going good. And he's got a whole little workshop going down in his basement now up in there in Pennsylvania, a little woodworking basement that he's got going on. So yeah, he's just going, man.
So, Vinny, as John's new co-host, what he's not saying, because you were asking what happened to Andy, it was like I was a listener to their show. It was kind of like an on-air breakup between them. Like they still wanted to hang out, but John wanted to take the show one direction. Andy wanted to take potentially the show a different direction, was getting a little bit out of endurance sports because he was into his balloons. He was getting into woodworking. He had his job. So they were just deviating where they were going. John still wanted to record and talk about training and so forth. And that's when he picked up a slew of other co-hosts and finally settled on me. And like a bad rash, I just haven't gone away yet. So, but when he finds the right cream, it just might happen.
Well, Rob, I love you and everything, but I do have a penchant for woodworking. And also, I don't know if you know this, also, Rob, but his other co-hosts used to send me homemade soap. And those soap supplies stopped. So not for nothing, but if you get into soap making or something sometime soon, I'd be most appreciative of that.
Well, see, I'm not into soap making, but based on, I know exactly what you're talking about, and that goes back to your grandpa's pine tar, and then Andrew made the soap. I actually have a client who makes some soap, so I will be sure to grab a few bars and send those to you.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of pine tar soap. Don't ask me how or why.
I get complaints about that all the time, Vinny, because I use it now too, and I've been using it since you brought it up way back in the day, and I love it. I love it. It's the only thing that takes the chlorine smell off me after a pool session. You know,
it will take the smell of skunk off of you, but it leaves the pine tar smell on you.
Yeah. And that's the thing some people don't like. So,
do people really complain about it?
Nobody in my life now. But
it washes away people too.
It washes away people too, right?
That pine tar soap cost me a marriage. The thing about it is that you can't use a whole lot of it. You know, you got to go light with it.
Yeah, and it really doesn't take a lot either. It takes me a while to get through 3 bars. I mean, you can buy them in sets of 3 on Amazon, but I love it. I love it. And the first time I used it, like I said, after a pool session and the chlorine smell was gone, I said, oh, well, that's cheaper than this Tri-Swim stuff they put out. So,
yeah, that's good stuff.
So,
good stuff.
Highly recommend it. It's on Amazon. Everything's on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Until the president shuts them down.
Oh, John, you might be outnumbered now with those comments.
I don't care. Brand. God, I just lost my train of thought. See, it's old, man. I'm tired of getting old. So like we said, Vinny's been on a number of times. Goes back. I don't know if you remember this, Vinny, but you were actually my homework from my first triathlon coach gave you to me as homework to go listen to your show, and it was episode 30.
I remember that there was a female coach down in Florida somewhere, right?
Yeah, Christine Concepcion. And
how's she doing?
You know what? I have not heard from her. She pops up on Facebook every once in a while, and she's local, but I don't see her out anymore. I haven't seen her in years.
So, how does she spell Christine?
K-R-I,
with a C?
yeah, with a K. Kristine. Concepcion. She's on Facebook. Yeah, I haven't heard from her. She popped up the other day or last week or so and said something, and I made a comment back at her, and she responded. But her and her partner are still out there in Clearwater or St. Pete somewhere. But I don't see her on the trails anymore. So who knows?
I'm pulling up a lot of Christine Concepcions, but none of them are her.
Yeah, you know her. She's on a tri-bike, I think, on her photo, or it might be an Italian Greyhound. Who knows? She changes back and forth with those. She has a little Italian Greyhound.
This might be her right here. Yeah. Her Italian Greyhound looks a lot like Anna Vocino.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, she's a cowboy boot lover. That's something Christine and I would have gotten along in life. Yeah.
Yeah, she was fun. She was a good coach too. I mean, she was my very first one, and I just remember that one day she goes, "I want you to go listen to this show called The Angriest Trainer on iTunes."
Yeah.
And I remember it was episode 13. And as I was telling Anna the other week that's how I remember, because she was the 13th guest back on Ironman Year 1 as well. So I don't know what that means. It means nothing.
It doesn't mean anything except that you remember dumb stuff.
How do you really feel about that, Vinny?
Well, that's the truth. I have my head full of dumb
people
stuff.
Always tell me that. They'll go, okay, number 75. That was the first show I heard from you. And I'll never forget that day. I realized I was 75 pounds overweight. And it was the 75th anniversary up. And I'll go, okay, you're taking random fucking numbers.
That's true, though.
What are you doing?
But see, that's why I'm starting to get old, is that all this random information in my head still pops out at different times. I'm a liner note reader from way back. I remember stuff about albums that nobody knows, but I read it on the back of an album cover one day, and I just remember it. But I can't remember what I have for breakfast. So,
you and I have talked about that on subsequent podcasts.
Yeah.
Now I'm just looking at pictures of Christine Concepcion. Is she gay? She's gay, right?
She is, yeah.
Yeah. The girlfriend or the wife, whatever it is.
Yeah. Also
hot. It's like double hot going on here. Oh,
God. You just had to send him down this path, didn't you?
I never know how he's, that's what I said. You know how he's going to go. So.
Yeah, she's wearing an old style NSNG t-shirt way back when.
Yeah.
I'm doing a deep dive on this chick right now.
I'm going to have to let her know. I said, okay, you were a main topic of conversation on the podcast this week. You got to listen to this one.
You can actually just tell her she was the only topic in my mind. God, she's hot. She's smoking hot, right, John?
I'm not, no comment.
So, John, how were you able to concentrate with a smoking hot chick giving you?
She was always so far ahead of me, Vin, that I could never, see her.
You couldn't catch up to tell her about her hotness.
I couldn't. Rob is over there grinning because he knows that. Because I want to see how he answers this one.
I like when he's putting you on the spot and not me.
Yeah, right. Because see, his wife doesn't listen to the show.
No, God, no. She doesn't listen to anything I do. Just like most women. Apparently, if you sleep with them, they don't pay attention to.
They listen to you all the time. They don't need to listen to you on the damn phone as well.
Yeah.
I've heard that one before. I hear you all the time. Why do I need to listen to you on a podcast?
Exactly.
So we want to know. We want people, like we were saying before. We want people to know who you are in a way, and not like the whole story. I would tell them to go out and buy Fitness Confidential. I was rereading that a little bit a couple weeks ago. It's still a good book. Yeah. Are you going to do another one? I thought there was like some talk about that for a while.
I wrote another book. I kind of wrote what people wanted me to write. They're saying, you didn't give us enough prescription, and you didn't give us enough this and enough that. And it's like, well, it wasn't supposed to be that.
Right.
So I ended up writing a book. I have probably 110, 115,000 words. By the way, by the time you cull it down into a book, you want it to be about 70.
Yeah.
So, basically I've written 2 books. And I don't like it. It's all of this great information, and I don't like it. And then I said, you know what? Screw this. So I wrote like a 26-page PDF and put it on Tortorich.com and put it up there for free. And, I've had people come to me and go, wait a minute, free. You could sell that thing for fill in the blank,
Yeah, right.
$10 a pop, $50 a pop. If you went over to Ben Greenfield's, that would be $100.
Oh, that's true, though. Yeah.
I don't know what those guys do. I love Ben. If you went over to Fat Burn Man, that's $75 if it's a dime.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Because I'm just giving it away. Because I wanted people to have. So I took my tome of 115,000 words and just turned it into 16 or 17, 26 to 27 pages, and just put it out there. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to add to it a little bit. And people go, oh, so you're going to sell that version of it. Okay, we see what you're doing. Give them a little bit and then charge them for the rest. No. I'm going to add to it, and that's just going to be added to it.
You've always been kind of like that. Even from the beginning, you weren't one you never seemed to me that like you were out to make money off of people, like a lot of money. Because even your book, when it came out, I spent $10 on it, maybe.
Yeah, the electronic version is still the same price, so whatever it was, it still is. I've never changed the price of the book. People have asked me about that. They go, how do you just give everything away? And I go, yeah, that's pretty much how I do it. So what do I charge for? Well, as you know, I created Pure Vitamin Club, and then more recently, Pure Coffee Club.
Good coffee.
And then people say, oh, okay. So you tell people they need to take your vitamins to lose weight. And I go, no, I don't tell them that. As a matter of fact, I tell them the opposite. No vitamin will make you lose weight. But if you want to take vitamins, they're there. I grew up very severely middle class. But we didn't have a lot of money because my parents had 4 kids. And then they had the stupid idea to send us to private school. So by definition, we were broke. Yeah. We were smart, but we were broke.
Right.
All the time. I mean, there was no extra money hanging around. And I appreciate my parents for doing that. Now I see what they did. When you're a kid, I was like, can I just go to public school and get a mini bike or something? What are we doing here?
Yeah, right.
Anything. I'd like to have, so we would do secondhand clothes sometimes and stuff like that and all kinds of stuff just so that they could keep us in private school. The problem with that is when you're the poor kid hanging out with rich kids, you see how the other half lives, right? Holiday time comes and everyone's heading off to Aspen, and I would go home and I would say, hey, Mom, can we go to Aspen and go skiing? And my mom and dad would say, wait, let me get your dad in the room. Your dad's going to. She called my dad and was like, Lord Fauntleroy here wants to go skiing. And they would just laugh for 30 minutes. So that was my life of always seeing what other people had and not having that. Yeah. Right. And, growing up, my mom was a Republican and my dad was a Democrat. Even though I don't know what that meant because neither one of them believed in abortion and neither one of them actually believed in making money. They were school teachers. Yeah. So I don't know where they were on the spectrum, but I think I got a little Democrat and a little Republican in me in that I always go, how can I create something really, really good, like top notch, top of the barrel, the good stuff, top shelf, and then give it to people for either cheap or free and let them do with it what they want. And can I make a living doing that? And I thought about that my whole life. And then once the internet happened, I was able to do that, So when people go, oh, I can't do NSNG because it's too expensive. No, it's not. It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
I make it. So don't tell me it's expensive.
Well, that goes back to my argument with people when they throw Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or any of that stuff at me. It's like anything that Weight Watchers is telling you to eat, any of their food, Jenny Craig, whatever. If you want to eat that food, that's fine, but you can make that food yourself. You don't have to buy their stuff. Yeah. There's nothing in there you can't make yourself. And stop giving them money. It drives me crazy. And I mentioned in Anna's show too, and I know how you feel about it. But yeah, I still have to argue with people about that stuff. I'm going to eat 2 pounds of spinach so I can have a slice of cheesecake. So
well, there's a lot of crazy. Like people say to me on Twitter all the time. I do Twitter every day. I answer every question on Twitter, and I don't know how I'm still doing it, but I am.
I don't know either.
But I get the question all the time. Hey, you say cheese is fine. Can I have shredded cheese? And I'll say, no, shredded cheese usually has other chemicals in it that causes it not to coagulate again. So, and basically one of the things they use is sawdust, basically, to keep the cheese from coagulating. And they'll go, well, you say I can't have shredded cheese? I mean, oh my God. And then I'll write back, you can buy a grater for less than $5. Grate your own cheese.
Grate your own cheese.
And you actually have more choices because they only sell 2 or 3 types of grated cheese anyway.
Right.
If you do it yourself, you get a higher quality cheese, and you can use any cheese of the livelong day. You don't have to be stuck with the 3 that are offered from Kraft.
It's one of those things that's so logical you can't understand why people don't get that. It's like why can't you think I shouldn't have to tell you that.
Well, look, I mean, I don't know if you guys get this, but people will tweet to me, hey, I'm listening to your Monday podcast right now, and You said something at minute 24 about carbohydrates. Can you remind me what that was? Really? You're listening to the fucking podcast. Hit backspace a little bit. You really tweeted that to me? What? What are you doing?
Well, it was something with carbohydrates. I can guess what it was.
I need to go back and look at Christina Concepcion again.
Just make her your screensaver now.
Is she your new Indian music to calm you down?
She'll be my Indian picture. Even what is Concepcion? That's like, right? That's not Italian.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if that was her ex-husband's name or hers, and I can't remember.
Can you get that information for me? I need information.
Okay. I think she is Hispanic though, but I could be wrong on that.
No, she doesn't look. She's blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah. But I have dark hair and green eyes, and I'm Italian all the way through. So
I have dark hair and green eyes too.
Yeah,
so
we must be from the same area, right?
Hey, you know what I just learned? I got my 23andMe back.
Oh, yeah. I want to do that. So tell me, what was it?
They sent me. Here's the crazy thing. When I was
Slavic.
broke, I could get anything for free. Now they sent me, hey, here's a free thing. I'm like, why couldn't I get this when I was broke?
Right, exactly.
You spit into a cup.
Yeah.
So I did that, and you send it off. There's a few rules. Don't drink dairy or eat dairy for hours because you'll come back with hey, your dad was a cow, or a bull. But, So I did the whole thing, and I wanted so bad to be African American. Be at least 30%.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I just thought that would be really cool.
Well, I got a story that goes with that. My parents, I'm Italian on my mom's side, English on my father's, and my father was killed when I was very young. But my mom used to tell me, used to joke all the time that we got our curly hair because we had African American on our side. Well, when I did my own American, heritage type thing on my own years ago, on his side of the family. And it was all the indentured servant came over in 1660 something, and but we had, if you look back through the tree, I have 2 Jemima aldermans in my family tree.
Really?
Yes, and so I'm saying, well, because back in those in those days, the slaves of the house often took on the name of the house owner, and the aldermans were a big family in South Carolina. So I'm saying, well, okay, maybe there's some truth to this. But then I had to remember in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the English girl in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is Jemima. So maybe it's an English name. So,
well, it is a British name because Serena has a niece named Jemima.
Yeah, see. So.
And they're the whitest white folks in the history of white of white folks. Have you guys ever Googled Charlotte Rampling? See, John, you might be old enough, right?
Tell me. I'm your age.
Rampling, like when you think about her today, you go, oh, she's this old chick. What are you doing? But if you Google Charlotte Rampling and then put in nude behind it,
okay,
she was smoking hot back in the day.
Oh, I know who she is. Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen her in everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the movies she was in. Yeah.
Oh, she's still in everything. She's maybe 80 now, and she's still in every movie you've ever seen.
Yeah, so she's 72.
You see, I thought she was older than that.
Yeah. No, I do recognize her though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
Nothing wrong with a little Charlotte Rambling nude, right?
No, I have to tag her.
That's what my grandmother used to always say.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, Vin, John cuts you off. Where were you going with the 23andMe? I'm curious now. Like, we opened a loop here, and John just went down his own little rabbit hole because the world does revolve around him. So.
My rabbit hole.
Yeah. So I did 23andMe.
Yeah.
And turns out, well, this part is not a shocker, but I'm 75% Italian.
There you go.
I'm only 9% Northern African.
Okay.
So, And then they alluded to that it's Arabian.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. I was very, very disappointed. I wanted to be black.
Well, that kind of makes sense though, because back then the Italians did trade with Northern Africans a lot, so that kind of makes sense that you would have something like that.
Way.
Yeah.
It's a way back machine.
That's a way back thing.
And here's one of the things that they said, like a lot of people say that the whole thing is BS. Mm-hmm. Hang on. I got to take Charlotte rambling off my screen because it's gone too far now. It's gone into creepy. All right. So, I've read some stuff and people go, oh, it's BS, right? It's BS. Mm-hmm. And they'll say two brothers did it. One brother was, let's say I'm 74% Italian. The other brother was 68%. Well, they said in my thing, they start telling you things like you should, like I should not have a hairy back. Mm-hmm. Well, I do have hairy back, mm-hmm. right? And my older brother has a very hairy back, and my dad has a hairy back. Mm-hmm. My two younger brothers have almost no hair on their back or their chest.
Right.
So I think there's some gray area there, which genetically what you might have gotten from your mom's side versus your father's side. Both my brother and I, my brother's completely bald. I have a bald spot on top, mm-hmm. right? And my dad is bald and has been bald his whole life. Yet my other two brothers, kind of like you, John, full head of hair, still no mm-hmm. receding hair. I think one of them has a little recede, but they're all around 50 now,
Right.
So it's funny how this whole thing, and it's kind of interesting. It's funny and interesting at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's like fun to look at and kind of fun to like think about how that stuff happens. That's what I find interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but obviously if you're coming back 75% Italian, there's some truth to it, right? Well,
yeah, I know all of my ancestors because they came here and they were all still alive when I was born.
Right. Yeah.
My great grandparents.
Right. And I can go to the Ellis Island archives and see where my great grandparents hit the island. I know that. Yeah. I can see their signatures on the piece of paper. So I know it's there. Plus I talk like this,
Yeah.
So. This all the time.
Yeah.
And knock somebody out.
So it is interesting. I just wanted to have something other than, I want it to be more exotic.
Yeah.
Than being from Sicily.
Yeah. Every Italian's from Sicily. That's not Italian. That's Sicilian, man.
Yeah. That's the thing. They distinguish between. Rob, aren't you loving this conversation?
It is fantastic.
You can see it. See, we can see you now. Normally you can't see them.
I should wear a hat. I'm sitting here looking at my my receding hairline in the video here.
My grandfather used to be would get very upset if you called him a Sicilian.
Really? Where was he from?
My family is from the same place Anna's from, Betanto and Bari.
Well, that's below. That's a little below Rome, right?
Yeah, it's over on the heel. So
yeah,
it's on the beach side on the heel. So
my mom's side was from the foot.
Yeah.
From just Reggio Calabria.
Yeah.
So the others right down there near you guys.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the Italians that are from like the coastlines have the light eyes, tend to have the lighter eyes, things like, so that's where the green eyes and things like that come from, or blue. If I say green eyes and my mom hears this, she's going to get mad. They're blue. She argues with me about that all the time.
Well, if you go above Rome, if you get way up there, mm-hmm. Some of them look like Rob.
Yeah, they're blonde and yeah.
Yeah, red hair, blonde, mm-hmm. blue eyes, that kind of thing. A lot of that.
So we used to drag those Germans screaming back to Italy with us.
Yeah.
Spoils of war.
Come here, wench. Come here, beer wench.
Beer wenches.
I love that was a thing. Haven't we come a long way?
Yeah, no, not really. So not everybody.
Beer wenches.
Beer wenches. Oh, man. So, Rob needs to pick up here.
You just want me to just randomly interject. So, Vinny, tell me about your latest interview with Dr. So-and-so, whatever. I don't know.
Look, Rob will tell you, John will tell you, we've done this show so many times. Have we ever gotten to anything?
No.
It's like blah,
little
blah,
tidbits
blah,
here and there.
NSG. Blah, 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 NSG.
Yeah.
Don't eat sugars, don't eat grains. If you want to hear me say it roughly, 1,000 sometimes, go listen to Vinny show.
Yeah. That's
Well, I'm not as like when I first started listening to Vinny back, way back then, I became very, when you, as with most things, when you first find something and it works and you become almost like a zealot about it, and you kind of get on people's nerves because that's all you do is start talking about it all the time.
Sure.
I'm not like that anymore, but I tend to have, the older I get, the less patience I have for just ridiculous things. And, I had someone just today in my office talking about like needing to lose weight, and she's holding a can of Coke in her hand. I said, if you want to, and they're coming to me, not like I'm some expert at losing weight, but they know I do all this stuff. And so she's asking me about it. I said, I can tell you how to lose weight real quick. Stop drinking the damn Coke.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Stop drinking that. And it's like, I got to have my Diet Cokes. Well, really? Then you don't want to lose weight.
Well, yeah, I hear that all the time. I still do the consults,
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm still doing them, but I do it.
Mm-hmm.
The way it works is for your audience is people can, go to VinnieTortorich.com, and there's a thing you click and you sign up, and then within 24 hours you can have me on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I would do it for 6 months and stop. Turns out I'm still doing it because I love talking to people. I love helping people, and it gives me a way to actually talk to people. So I've continued to do them, and I will get people on the phone sometimes. Most of the people are like you guys. They know more about me than I know about me.
Right. Yeah,
They just want to fine tune it, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Other times I'll get people on the phone and they'll say, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I know nothing about you. My coworker paid for this, or my husband paid for this, or my wife paid for this, or some version of that, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as I hear that, I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, this is going to be a tough road to hoe. Mm-hmm. And I get them. I get one like that or two like that every week. And they'll say, but since I have you on the phone and this has been paid for, they'll say, I will do anything to lose weight. You tell me, I've tried everything. I will do anything. And I'll say, okay, you're going to be cutting out all sugars and all grains. Wow. And then they'll say some version of, wait, how's that again? I'll go, sugars, grains, got to go. And they go, wait a minute. What, like a grain? What's a grain? I'll say like bread and pasta. Oh, no, you don't understand. I'm not cutting bread out. What else you?
Nothing.
Pasta. Okay, so you're telling me I can never have pasta again, ever again. Well, yeah, 5 minutes ago, you said you would do anything to lose weight. Where are we now? Mm-hmm. Oh, but I can't have pasta? They'll get hung up on the dumbest thing.
Right.
And it's like, well, you're not really interested in losing weight if you're going to keep eating the thing that's causing you to gain weight.
Right. Yeah, I go through the whole rigmarole with them about, the insulin spikes and all that stuff. And some people will be really interested and really listen. And then other people, it's like, as soon as you bring up pasta, as soon as you bring up bread. Now, I come from a family that my grandfather considered bread a utensil.
Yeah.
It was like fork in one hand, piece of bread in the other. That's how you ate. So yeah. I loved my bread. I can eat it. So if I can give it up, anybody can give it up. Because I ate bread I would eat a loaf of bread easy without even thinking about it. And then wonder why I was 300 pounds, so.
Yeah. Well, John, last summer we were in Italy of all places. Serena's sister, Kristen, got a house for the whole family to go and hang out. Mm-hmm. And we're in the Italian countryside. And look, I know when I go to Italy, there's going to be some version of bread. Something's going to show up where I'm not going to be able to offend someone. Mm-hmm. And Kristen's really good about, Vinny's here. But for Christ's sakes, the whole family, it's not just me there. It's the whole clan, right?
Right.
And So one night they were doing like, fettuccine with shrimp or something like that. Mm-hmm. And Kristen came to me and she goes, look, I need to run into town because I had forgotten. The British are just way too nice. I had forgotten. I'm going to go grab you a steak. I went, no. Kristen, I'm looking forward to eating a little pasta, right? I'm looking forward. I haven't had pasta in years. I'm looking forward to this fettuccine. I hear so much about it and the whole thing. And meanwhile, I was thinking in my head, I wonder if I have time to run into town to grab this thing. But I didn't. And I may or may not have had 2 scotches in me. So I didn't want to drive in a different country with booze. I don't drive in this country with booze in me. So I sat down and I ate the fettuccine. And I felt while I was eating it like I was enjoying the crap out. It was delicious. Mm-hmm. But as soon as it was kind of hitting my stomach, I noticed it was like, I got to get my belt loose here with no one looking. It's like I was bloating out. My system was treating it like, and then I started getting the gurgling noises and the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God, couldn't fall asleep that night.
Yeah.
I woke up the next morning, I could barely see my ankles. Mm-hmm. Right? I never eat this stuff. Right. And this is like incredible. This is not like crappy pasta. This is pasta. It was already, it's like right from the pasta market. It was loose before you dropped it into the, it was like mushy before you even dropped it in the thing. Mm. If you don't eat grains and then you have grains, your body will react to it like nobody's been, like you just dumped poison into your system.
It's interesting. I'm glad you said that because I was talking to a friend the other day about that and explaining to them, it's like if I have pasta, it feels like I bloat immediately. And it's the same thing. It's like I'll get like what I call the food sweats. I'll start sweating and even before I'm done eating, and it doesn't take that long. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that.
Oh, and look, you would go, oh well, maybe it was gluten. Maybe you're allergic to gluten. No, because about a year before that, usually there's something that happens once a year where I go, oh, okay, all right. And I went to see a movie with Tallulah, and we never go out to the movies together. I got popcorn. It was about a year before that. And I went, okay, I'm going to pretend I'm like every other human being. I'm going to just eat some popcorn with my daughter, the whole thing. And same thing. It's like halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh, I'm reaching, I'm loosening my pants and melting, and then after Tallulah goes, let's go eat. And I'm like, eat. Eat. I feel like I'm about to pop here. It's like
you got to get a pair. You got to get a pair of eating pants. But
it was, and then I came home. The same thing. It was like half the night. I'm like tossing and turning. I'm rolling around. Yeah. It's crazy what this food will do to you if you never eat it. Yeah.
Yeah, but people almost don't believe me when I tell them that. It's like, if how can you? They'll say to me, how can you gain 5 pounds if you had a sandwich? It's like, and that'll happen to me. I'll have a sandwich, because it's like something I just, just to get something in my stomach at some point, and then the next day I'm 5 pounds heavier. And it's just, that's how it happens to me. Besides just the weight gain, I've and trying to live that lifestyle, I had cancer and I have no thyroid, so I have no metabolism as it is, so it's just,
right.
And all the hormone issues that go along with that. So, and now on top of that, getting psoriatic arthritis. So, my inflammation goes sky high immediately. It doesn't take much. And I really have to watch every little thing. And now I'm finding we got into it with Anna about the dairy is just like not sitting well with me anymore. And I don't know, maybe it's an age thing or something, but it's every time I have dairy.
Some people can handle dairy until they can't handle dairy. What about you, Rob? Where are you on all this? Dairy, pasta, any of this stuff?
Shortest version, and our audience has heard it, and I'll just summarize for you. Excuse me. go back. I've been up and down in weight, yo-yoed through the years, anywhere from 300 pounds to 189 pounds. And a couple of years, this goes back maybe 2013 or so, I had first heard you on the Marathon Training Academy podcast, and it sounded too good to be true. Wait a minute. I could eat bacon and eggs, and I could do this and this. All I have to do, you're saying, or what you were going when saying at that time is people were upset that I can't eat bread or I can't eat this. Well, what can I eat? Everything else, right? So, that being said, when I say sounded too good to be true, I was in the throes of trying to lose weight. Ran 2 marathons that year, Pittsburgh in the spring, New York in the fall. 2 days after, or the day after the New York Marathon, I'd run cumulative like 1,600 miles that year, and I was stuck at like 230 pounds. I then jumped on, started following your program. So between the early November and January the following year, I was down in the 180s, high 180s, but way down. So through time, and you can see on the video, as I sit here right now, I'm at about 205. 202 maybe after my run. And, that said is I follow, when I say I try to stay 80% or better, when I say no sugar, no grain lifestyle. And what I know works for me is when I say 80%, one meal Saturday night or something like that, if we're at friends and they're cooking for us, like you had said, they went through the trouble to make all of that, I'll go and I'll have that. And I wasn't as vigilant near the middle of last year, and so like my wife was cooking and using these like the Blue Apron and this home delivery meal things, and she's like, well, hey, look, this meal is like 80%, but it wasn't for me. I can't do 80% of a meal. I can't have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every meal 80% there. My weight had slowly crept back up to about 230, and I kind of tightened it back down. And between, right around Thanksgiving, I was 228, 229, right under 230. As I sit here today, if I go before my run, I'm just over 200. After my run, I'm just under. And now I'm 30 days out from the Pittsburgh Marathon, so I'm really going to ratchet it down. And that being said, John's my coach, as you heard him say, he does update, he follows my training online. And so Saturday, Sunday, I had back-to-back 10-mile runs. And Saturday's run, I had sent him a message and said, hey, I should know better, but I didn't. I got, and that being said, as I got up in the morning, I had, a yogurt. I was coming off of being sick, so I had to take doxycycline or whatever. So I have to get up and take a pill in the morning. So I had a yogurt and an apple with it, a cup of coffee. I was at maybe 7. I didn't eat again until after my run, which was a mistake. And I went for my run at like 2 p.m. So around mile 9 on a 10-mile run, I'm bonking and running out of energy, but I hadn't ate for, 10 hours in between. So I like to say I'm mostly, the fat adapted, but we all have our limits. I'm not as strict or vigilant as you are at it, but I very much like it. And it's not a lack of information, it's a lack of discipline. The stricter I get with it, the better results I see. The thinner I get, lose inches in the waist. And probably by early May, my goal was once again to be about 185, and I have no qualms that I think I'll be there too. So believe in it and love it.
It's funny. I would not be as strict either on myself. If it wasn't for John had mentioned his cancer, I've had the cancer issue too, or also, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, I would probably do it 90% of the time, and when I did it, whenever I did go off the rails, it would be like at a friend's house, or that glass of wine with a great steak dinner, or fill in the blank, right? But the upside, the beauty of being 100% almost all the time, except when I'm in Italy, is that I'll give you an example. I'm trying to train for this paddle. I'm going to be paddling a kayak 100 miles down the bayou I grew up on. And it's wreaking a little havoc because, I had a shoulder replacement and the whole thing, and I'm trying to get there and teach myself and so on and so forth. So, this past Saturday, I was out in the Pacific Ocean in a sea kayak for, let's call it 3 hours. No, let's not call it that. Let's just say it was 3 hours because that's how much time I spent out there. Constant paddling. I did pull up to shore one time because I had to take a leak. I still haven't really figured out how I'm going to pee while I'm in that boat. I'm working on a few different options, but when you have a wetsuit on, I ain't peeing in a wetsuit.
Just kind of sits there. It'll be warm.
So that's problem number one. But problem number two is I got out to pee once, and then I was done. And 3 hours later, I got out of the boat. I had what can only be described as 2 handfuls of macadamia nuts. I like to bring something with me so that, when I pull up on shore or something, if I'm hungry, if I feel hunger pangs or I feel like I have a little lull of some sort, I could take something, right? But I didn't eat those the whole time. So when I got in my car to drive home, and the drive was about 45 minutes because of where I launched, I ate those handfuls of macadamia nuts. And when I got home, I immediately threw on a pair of running shoes and went out for a trail run for 90 minutes. Okay. The only thing I had to eat that morning was 3 eggs with an extra yolk that I kind of scrambled up with butter, with a great butter, with that Kerrygold butter. Mm-hmm. That was it. And then think about it. Most people would have a kayak in open water for 3 hours battling that. You're going to be ravenous.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I came home, like I said, drove and just kind of ate a few macadamia nuts on the way home and went another 90 minutes in the mountains on a run. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying this is a fact, people. This is what I did. And that's that. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
I think a lot of people have just, their heads are spinning because you said 3 eggs with an extra yolk. I think you just threw a lot of people right off the rails.
Sometimes it's 2 eggs with 3 or 4 extra yolks.
Yeah.
Because the yolk is where any of the nutrition is.
Right.
But
for years you've heard like almost the exact other people say the exact opposite. It's all egg whites, get rid of the yolks. And that's the battle I fight every day with people too. It's like, it's not true. Stop saying that,
Yeah, I even when when back in the day we were in the throes of all of the egg white thing. Yeah. I'm like, why are we doing this? Mm-hmm. What are we doing? I don't get what we're doing here. Throw away the best part of the egg and keep the part that there's a thing that the Inuit people do, right? Mm-hmm. And it's what they would do is they would cook up meat, and they would give the lean cuts of the meat to their dogs, and they would eat the fatty portions. Mm-hmm. Right? We're the only people that think it's a good day when we take away the good part, right? It makes no sense to me.
I'll jump in with what you just said, and this sounds very stupid, maybe even gross. I'm out on my run the other day, out on my run, and there's roadkill, fairly fresh. It was a little critter that got hit by somebody. It had already been starting to been picked apart by other animals. You want to know what was gone? All of the guts. What was left? Everything else. Why are animals in nature gravitating towards the organ meats and not the quote lean muscle meats that are left behind? That's the choice cuts that we pay the most for, and that's these are the first things that go are the organ meats, which in American society we don't even eat. People don't really eat the heart, liver, lungs, anything. So
yeah, and I've always I got to be honest with you, I've never liked liver. I maybe it's because it was stuffed on me as a kid. You eat your liver. But I've considered, because one of the supplements I took back when I, was all pumped up and beefed up and the whole thing was desiccated liver pills. That's how important it is, that I would just take desiccated liver. And I've actually considered making it. And I mentioned it to Andy. I said, you know what? I don't think it'll be a big seller at purevitaminclub.com or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But for the people who want to get their liver without eating liver, I remember taking a ton of those every day. Like, I spent all of my money on liver,
When actually, if you bought the cut, it's like $1. It was always the cheapest stuff in the grocery store. And that's why we had it. I grew up in the same, probably even less so than you, Vinny, but I grew up in a very poor household, and we had liver a lot because it was cheap, and we had pasta a lot, pasta with ketchup. That's the kind of house I grew up in. But
we never had ketchup with pasta.
But that we really, that's the kind of, we had 4 kids as well. My father was a mechanic at a Shell station. That's, my mom stayed home. So, that's just how you did it. So, you ate a lot of the cheapest stuff, whatever you could get. And liver was one of them. Cause I remember it's like she could get enough liver for everybody for like $2, $3. So you ate it. So I happen to like it, but I don't eat it enough.
Yeah, look, it's a good food to eat. It's just it's tough to get. It's tough not to get. It's tough to take, I guess.
Yeah. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's a hard sell. Just cover it in onions.
That's the way my mom would do. She was smart onion. My mom actually made it taste pretty good. I think it was after that was when I finally went, I don't think I could do this. Because I didn't know how to do it the way my mom did it.
Yeah, I got more used to stuff like that when I got in the Navy for some reason. It's like you would tolerate it when I was growing up, and I joke about it. I joked about it for a long time because I always consider certain things poor food because of just what we ate all the time, pork chops and stuff like that. And I always would call it poor food. But then I got in the Navy, and it's like, wow, this is pretty good. I can eat this, so it's not so bad. My palate changed a bit. And then the Navy, when you're in the military and out at sea for 8 months, you kind of eat what you can get at that point. You're starving. So,
what was that like being on a boat forever in a week?
It's not, you have your short timers calendar where you start checking off the days to go right from the start. And I kind of got jerked around near the end. I was in for 10 years, and we had the explosion on the Iowa back in April of '89. That killed a lot of people, and they took us out to sea to kind of get us out of the limelight, get us away from reporters and things. So I was out to sea for 7 months. I came back, and I had like 9 months left on my tour, and I said, well, they'll just let me ride this out, But then Desert Shield started, and they needed what I did for a living at that time. I was we'll call it air intercept controller. So this is before like the automatic fighter jets. This is when you had to guide fighter jets, kind of like in Top Gun. You had to guide them toward the enemy. They needed us on destroyers. So I was home for maybe a month and a half, and then I got heloed back over to Saudi Arabia to pick up a destroyer. And I was gone and through Desert Storm. So I was like at sea out of a year. I was at sea for like 10 months. On 2 different ships, and it's just like I was done, and I got seasick, so it wasn't fun at all, at that point. Good way to lose weight, though.
I constantly throwing up.
Yeah,
I hate being at sea because I throw up all the time. It's funny. I could get a small craft. I mentioned a kayak.
Yeah.
And I could be close to shore where it's rocking and rolling a bit. Mm-hmm. But if I'm out in open waves where it's like, where the sea is just rising and falling like that,
you're just gonna be sick doing that.
Yeah, I just thinking about it makes me ill.
Yeah, well, we had seas. We were in the North Atlantic, and luckily it was on the battleship, so we weren't rolling that much. But the waves were actually to the bridge. All you saw was water around you because we were in the swell. So it was like a 32-foot sea, and that'll scare you. That'll scare you. When fish start hitting the deck, hitting the windows. It's time to find a port somewhere.
I'm with you there, Vinny. I can go out in my kayak, or we go fishing once a year up in Canada, and little, what are they, 12, 15 foot, boats. Those rock and roll, and I'm fine. But I took the Staten Island ferry when I was in New York, and just the slight roll of that thing made me like ill for hours. I just don't understand how there's the difference, but oh well.
It's the slow roll versus the fast roll.
Yep.
If it's doing this, you're fine. If it starts doing this thing, or up and down like this,
the audience really appreciates the hand motion.
The hand, you can just imagine my hand gesture.
Any kind of whipping motion, like I can't, like, I have to travel a lot now, a lot. Mm-hmm. And I tell Andy, Serena, everyone who makes tickets for me, if I'm in the back of the plane, you just wasted money on a ticket. I'm not getting on that plane. I need to be at the wing or above.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they'll say to me, why don't you just buy a first class ticket? And I'll go, because I'm not first class ticket material.
Yeah.
I want to be as close to the front of the plane without sitting in first class. I don't get first class. I don't get why I need to pay more to sit in a nicer seat, because the seat I'm in is nice enough.
Right. Ricky Gervais had a whole thing on that on his last stand-up about sitting in first class versus sitting with the scum.
Wait, who did?
Ricky Gervais.
What did he have to say about it?
He was just saying that it's like, how he is, but he was talking about sitting in first class or sitting back with the rest of the, the scum, and no offense, but so just the, you get the special nuts and the special wine glasses and the special champagne, and then someone's always messing it up because they have a nut allergy, and the whole first class can't have nuts because one person has a nut allergy, and he was wondering how they got through their whole life without ever being next to a nut. So he has to call bullshit on that one. It's
complete bullshit, because I bring nuts on almost every flight I take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. But it was very fun. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It just came out on Netflix, but it's
I will be watching it tonight.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of shows ago that you were on, that something I had just, when you mentioned on your show, and I had just watched it, and it was the now it's just like it's the corner one where they cut the fat person open.
Obesity, postmortem.
Obesity postmortem.
That's a great one, right?
Yeah, it was really interesting, wasn't it? It's like, well, I'm never eating fat again. I'm never eating anything again.
I saw that, and it's funny because Serena, I've cut on a cadaver before, so and back when I cut on a cadaver, they didn't. Most of them were lean. It was early 1980s. Mm-hmm. So most of them were just very lean. But I went, I want to watch this. I want to see what this looks like, because, and it was so eye opening. And Serena started going, "Oh my God," because she thought she would be queasy at first and the whole thing, and then she was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I was like, yeah, this is what's going on. And she's like, "Oh, anyone," and that's why I said I need to mention this on a podcast, because if anyone sees this,
yeah,
this is good stuff,
Yeah. Sometimes you got to see it like that, realize, well, people can kind of convince themselves of anything, so they say, well, I'm 50 pounds, but I'm healthy. But then you see a film like that, it's like, are you really? Because that was just, it's gross enough to, I don't get queasy about stuff like that either, but it's gross enough to like make you think. It's like, God, that's what I look like inside right now, or it's pretty close to it, but
it's pretty scary, right?
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah. But as scary as like the fat that was in it was like everywhere. It wasn't just in her belly. It was like in her chest and in her arms and her legs. And, people tend to think that the fat just congregates in the middle,
Well, yeah, that's the thing. People don't realize that the subcutaneous fat is not just what you're looking at. That's the stuff you can grab. Look at all the stuff that it was unbelievable. And
she was so heavy. Remember, they cut her open and they found an implant in her chest, that she had breast implants, and they didn't even know it.
Right,
it just pops out. So look, she had breast implants.
Yeah, it's really crazy, man.
Yeah.
The whole thing is.
So.
Yeah.
So we're at an hour. That was a quick hour, right?
Did we talk about anything?
Yeah, we did. There's a few nuggets in there.
Oh, good.
Trust me. It's always fun. So
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
When is this show coming out?
Probably next Monday.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Let's do some work on the air. I'm going to ask you guys.
Podcasting gold.
All right, so today is what? The 9th?
Today's the 9th.
Yeah.
Next Monday is the 16th?
16th. Yep.
Okay. Would you guys, and I'm begging you guys, I'm asking you on the air so you can't tell me no. Would you guys mind having me on the show shortly after? We can record it before this date, but shortly after the 7th. Would you guys mind having me on again?
May
7th?
May 7th.
Yeah.
Sure.
After May 7th.
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Emphatically, yes.
Because I'm going to be making a big announcement.
Oh, okay, good.
I'm going to actually kind of break the announcement on next Monday's show with Anna.
Okay.
I'm going to break what's going to be coming up in May. But I have something coming up that I'm very passionate about. And I really want to make it happen.
Okay.
And I'd like to come back on again. How many people listen to your show?
We have, well, it depends on if you're talking about downloads or hits. We have this discussion a lot, actually.
What's the difference?
Well, this is what I had to look into. Downloads are people that actually download the show to their device and listen to it that way.
Right.
A hit is somebody that streams it.
Right.
So they're not downloading it. So your streams tend to be a lot higher than your hits, than your downloads, because a lot of people stream now. So we average, every month we're averaging around 34,000 streams.
Wow. You guys have a big show.
Yeah. So downloads we average right around the 400 mark that are downloading the show.
I would like to come back on and talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. And are you guys going to keep in secrets or?
We can once we click, because I think John's still recording it. You probably want to let us close this out, and then
you guys turn it off. And I'll tell you guys who's coming up, but you got to promise. Both of you have to promise me not to put it in social media.
No, I won't. We won't do that.
Not a problem.
All right. So we'll get off the air now, so Vinny can tell us his secret.
Yeah.
And that'll be up for bid tomorrow, the day of, if you want to hear it. So, I think I lost them both. Are you guys still there? Oh, there you are.
He cut out.
Yeah.
Hey, John, you're cutting out. I didn't know if it was just me, so I was trying to be quiet there. So
I'm here. You're not hearing me?
I could hear you just fine, John.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It all froze there for a second. All right. So, Vinny's show is, on all the podcast apps. You don't call yourself the Anger Strainer anymore. It's just a Vinnie Tortorich.
No, we went away from that a long time ago. Yeah. And by the way, there's a place where people can opt in to learn this. I can tell you guys this, right?
Go ahead.
And you can put it in this show. Are we still recording?
You are still recording. Sir. Yep.
All right, hang on. If people want to opt in, you can text to you text the word NSNG, those 4 letters, NSNG, to 22828.
Okay.
And give me, go there, give me your email address and the whole thing. And as soon as we put out what we're putting out, you guys will be the first to know.
Great.
So I can't tell you that. I have that information. By the way, you guys have this before Anna Vocino has it and anyone else. Anna has no idea about what I'm getting ready.
That'll show her.
Yes.
So VinnieTortorich.com. He's very active on Twitter as well. And he does because he's answered me on Twitter before. So anything else, Vin, before we go?
That's it. Just if you guys want to opt in, go to text NSNG to 22828 and put your information in there.
Right.
And we will, in a couple of weeks, we will be sending you something really cool.
Okay. All right. Great. So, Rob, anything more for you?
That's it for me. We'll sign this off so we can hear super secret stuff.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for listening to the Endurance for Everyone podcast. If you have comments or questions for the show, send an email to teamE4E at enduranceforeveryone.com. And remember, swim calm, bike strong, and run steady.